Hi, hello guys, how are you all? As you all would have known, RCBயோட ஃபேன் செலிப்ரேஷன் பெங்களூரு சின்னசுவாமி ஸ்டேடியமில் நடந்துச்சு. எப்படி ஸ்டாம்பேட் நடந்துச்சு உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டே இன்டர்நெட்லேயும் நியூஸ்லேயும் என்ன கவர் பண்ணுதுங்கிறத பார்த்தோம். அதுக்கு அடுத்தடுத்த நாட்கள் அந்த பெங்களூரு ஸ்டாம்பேடுங்கிறது என்னவா பேன் அவுட் ஆச்சு, யார் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள், ஆர்சிபி மேனேஜ்மெண்ட்டா, இல்லை கேசிஏ அந்த கவர்மெண்ட் அஃபிஷியல்ஸா, இல்லை போலீஸா, இல்லை பொலிட்டிஷியன்ஸா அக்கௌண்டபிலிட்டி எடுத்துக்கிட்டாங்களா அப்படிங்கிற ஓவராலாக அந்த பெங்களூரு ஸ்டாம்பேட் என்னவா பேன் அவுட் ஆச்சுங்கிறத பற்றி ஒன்றா கவர் பண்ணி பார்ப்போம் வாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இந்தியா டுடேல டெமோக்ராட்டிக் நியூஸ்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு ஷோ ஒன்று இருக்குது. நான் நம்புகிற ஓரளவுக்கு ரெப்யூட்டபிளான சேனல்ஸில் இந்தியா டுடே ஒன்று. ஸோ பிரீத்தி அவர்கள் ஹோஸ்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, ராஜ்தீப் சர்தேஷா இருந்திருக்காரு, அக்ஷிதா இருந்திருக்காங்க. ஸோ ஐ வாஸ் ஈகலி வெயிட்டிங் என்னவா பேசுகிறாங்க, என்ன இஷ்யூஸ் இருக்குது, என்னென்னலாம் கவர் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, ஜேர்னலிஸ்டாக என்ன கவர் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, அண்ட் ஹூ ஆர் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள் ஏதாவது பண்ணியிருக்காங்க பார்ப்போம் வாங்க. இட்ஸ் கெட் டு த ஷோ. Okay.
Good evening. You're watching the Democratic Newsroom, yet another edition. We come to you for a very somber debate because yesterday what was supposed to be massive celebrations for the RCB, Royal Challengers Bengaluru, winning their first IPL trophy in 18 years turned into a massive tragedy with a stampede at the Chinnaswamy Stadium killing 11. The mean age of the 11, 23 viewers. Just let that sink in. Who is to blame? Where and who? At who does the buck stop? That's what we're going to be discussing over the course of the next 30 minutes. Allow me to cut across to our editors this evening. Joining me, Nikhil Naz, who was in Bengaluru at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. He was actually there when the stampede took place. We'll also have from Bengaluru, Naga, my colleague. He'll be joining us with the very latest. We also have Akshita, Gaurav, Suesha, Anjali, and our consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai. Sahil Joshi also will be joining us from Mumbai. But Rajdeep, first up, where does the buck stop? Who takes the blame for what happened yesterday?
Before that, let me just say that it's terrible what happened, tragic, and hearts and thoughts and prayers with the families who've lost their near and dear ones. This is not a time for a usual angry debate that you have on Democratic Newsroom. The buck stops with the state administration and the state government. Law and order is a state subject. It is entirely their responsibility to ensure that the citizens are protected. So I think the buck stops with the Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka and the local administration that includes the local police. I would also say in this particular instance, RCB and KSCA cannot escape some level of culpability. All of them were in a hurry to celebrate arguably a fantastic achievement by RCB, but they could have waited, press the pause button. What was the hurry? You win at midnight on Tuesday, and by Wednesday you're rushing to celebrate. I mean, you give the police no time really to prepare. So I think all these three entities, but particularly the state government, is where the buck stops. They cannot pass the buck anymore. India will win an Olympic medal one day in a sport called passing the buck.
Well, you're right there. But I want to first.
மூஞ்சி மாடி சொல்லிட்டா அடப்பாய்.
So I think all these three entities, but particularly the state government, is where the buck stops. They cannot pass the buck anymore. India will win an Olympic medal one day in a sport called passing the buck.
Well, you're right there. All right, I want to go, first up to Nikhil Naz, and I'll bring in my colleague Naga, who's also joining us from Bengaluru. But Nikhil, first up, you were right there where the tragedy occurred. I remember yesterday when you were speaking to us, you recounted the tragedy of a 15-year-old child, that little girl who lost her life. But take us through, in the aftermath of it all, what did you...
15-year-old child. புரியவே மாட்டேங்குது. 15-year-old child, she has lost her life. என்னதான் அப்படி பண்ணுவீங்க? என்னதான் அப்படி செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுவீங்க? சிவிக் சென்ஸ் ஒன்று வேணாமா? ஹவு டு பிஹேவ் இன் பப்ளிக்னு ஒரு ஆர்டர் வேணாமா? அப்புறம் என்ன பெரிய படித்த சிட்டி, என்ன பெரிய ஐடி கல்ச்சரு, என்னதான் அப்புறம் அங்கே பெங்களூரில் இருக்குது? 15-year-old child, she has lost her life. Fucking hell.
You observe who should take responsibility because accountability must be fixed?
A couple of things, Preeti. As Rajdeep said, I think the buck stops with the state administration. I hear many people saying that should RCB have even been celebrating. I think that's the basic right of a franchise that's won a title after 18 years to celebrate it.
டேய் யாரா எங்க இருந்துடா பிடிக்கிறீங்க? செலிப்ரேஷனா முதல்ல என்னடா? செலிப்ரேஷன் என்ன நினச்சின்னு இருக்கீங்க? ஏன்னா ஊரில் வேறு எவனும் செலிப்ரேட்டே பண்ணது இல்லைடா, எவனும் ஐபிஎல்லே கப்பு ஜெயிச்சதே இல்லையாடா. இன்னும் உங்களுக்கு மட்டும் தான் செலிப்ரேஷன் ப்ளூ பிரிண்ட் போட்டு எடுத்துகிட்டு வந்துருந்தீங்களா நீங்கள்? பைத்தியத்தனமாக மரத்து மேலே ஏறுறது, பஸ்ஸு மேலே ஏறுறது, காம்பவுண்ட் மேலே ஏறுறது, கண்ட இடத்துல தொங்குறது, தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கு வேண்டிய கவர்மெண்ட் பஸ் முன்னாடி வழிமறிச்சு நின்று அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஆட்டம் போடுறது, பைக் எடுத்துகிட்டு போய் பேரிகேடை பிடிச்சிட்டு இழுத்துனே போகிறது, இது பேர் செலிப்ரேஷனடா? பைத்தியக்காரத்தனடா, பைத்தியங்களா? பைத்தியக்காரத்தனம் அதுக்கு பேர் செலிப்ரேஷன் இல்லை. செலிப்ரேஷன் என்ன? ரைட்டு செலிப்ரேட் ஆம எங்கேருந்துடா பிடிச்சிட்டு வரீங்க இவங்களாம் ஜேர்னலிஸ்ட்னு?
People are saying that why did so many fans turn up? They are fans for a reason. They are the number one stakeholders. They needed to be there. And if you cannot provide security to the fans to celebrate, or even to the franchise, something that Rajdeep said that they could have waited. Why should anyone be asked to wait? I mean, you've got
ராஜ்தீப் பார்க்குற மொழியை பாருங்களேன். வாட் தி ஃபக் இஸ் யூ பிளாபரிங்கிற மாதிரி என்னடா பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்கு? இது ரைட் டு செலிப்ரேட்டடா? ஏடா ரைட் டு செலிப்ரேட்டில் 11 லைஃப்ஸ் லாஸ் ஆனால் பரவாயில்ல உங்களுக்குலாம்? என்னத்தடா கவர் பண்ண? அப்புறம் என்னத்தடா அங்கேருந்து பார்த்து நீ பைத்தியங்களா இருக்காங்க.
Why should anyone be asked to wait? I mean, you've got European football clubs that win on the night. Next day in London, the streets are jam-packed and people are celebrating immediately after they won it. I think as a country, we keep talking about, such and such trillion economy and all of that. We need to get our basic structures in place. There was no protocol. There was no intelligence. The fans have the right to celebrate. The franchise
Seriously, Rajdeep is shocked.
Structures
whatever
in place.
the fuck this
There was
guy
no
is
protocol,
blabbering.
There was no intelligence. The fans
Just
have the
see
right.
his reaction. He's just taken aback. என்னடா பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்கீங்க வந்து?
To celebrate. The franchise has the right to celebrate. You just need to get the system in place. And unfortunately, that is something.
not held in London the very next day. When Liverpool wins the EPL, there is planning. It's not some. The problem is everyone wanted to do it the very next day. It befuddles me. If the police said do it on a Sunday, who said no? Do it the next day?
Just make your point, then I'd like to bring in Rajdeep. All right, Rajdeep, allow me to bring in the others.
The buck stops with the police. Were the cops there or not? They were. So if they didn't want it to happen, no parade or no event would have happened. They reached there, whether reluctantly, whether pressurized, whether their arms were twisted. At the end of the day, the buck stops with them.
Agreed.
Sam Manakshaw was asked, can you go to war at that time? He said, no, he can't. When I'm prepared, I will. The buck stops with the cops. You allowed that to happen. Now it's a classical case of finger pointing. And I tell you, when it comes to the cops, I saw that because Preeti is asking what was happening. I was at gate 13, which is the VIP gate. There were 200 policemen there, and all they did was, the tragedy happened 50 meters near gate 19. So who is supposed to look after the streets? It's not just about the stadium. They were happy clearing the way for any VIP car to come in. 200 cops just doing that. 50 meters away, nobody really cares what's happening. Crowds are there, and you have the Stampede where I was. Nobody bothered about that. All they cared for
the resonating there. You take the state from Karnataka, change it to Uttar Pradesh. At the Kumbh, the VIP entrance, exactly the same stories that were reported by our reporters on ground. I want to bring in Nagarjun Dwarkanath, who's joining us from Bengaluru. We're going to teleport him here. Naga, you were very excited, Nagarjun, yesterday. Bangalore winning after 18 years, and then the tragedy strikes. You've been reporting over the course of the last 18 to 20 years. What is it that you have picked up? Because who takes responsibility for this, Naga? Is it the RCB? Is it the state, the government? Who takes responsibility?
Well, the large blame has to go to the Cricket Association. Nikhil was talking about fans have all the rights to celebrate. Yes, but the fans have to be disciplined also. They were so large in number that half of them were drunk, half of them were pushing the buses back.
A true Bengalurian spitting the facts, guys. He's just spitting the facts. Fans have to celebrate, but they also have to maintain discipline. Public order ஒன்னு இருக்குடா பைத்தியக்காரங்களா.
Fans have to be disciplined also. They were to the Cricket Association. Nikhil was talking about fans have all the rights to celebrate. Yes, but the fans have to be disciplined also. They were so large in number that half of them were drunk, half of them were pushing the buses, barricades. Is that the way to behave? It was just a mob there. It was not even fan anymore. After a while, after 5 p.m, it was just direct mob. When you have to enter the stadium, there's a way to enter. Everyone's just rushing into the barricades, rushing into the gates. How much can the police also do? Usually in one IPL match, there are around 1,000 or 800 police personnel deployed at the stadium because there is also 60,000 crowd or 70,000 crowd around the stadium during the IPL matches. Considering the victory parade was not there and all the people would go to the stadium, they were expecting around 75 to 80,000. Hence, the police deployment was also increased by the department. But however, the fans were fans. Half of them were drunk, half of them were just wanted to barge in, half of them were doing pickpockets there. All kind of crime were happening at that point of time, and it was just chaos everywhere. The police also were clearly outnumbered. But yes, the buck stops at the present dispensation. If Mumbai and Kolkata could do it with Mumbai Indians.
No, I agree.
Fans. What are fans
I agree. Because Naga, if you look at any football match, if you any of the leagues that one has gone for any football match, the fans are rowdier even then. What at least I believe, and what I want to bring you in is because it does seem the RCB, the cricketers, they're nothing else but cricketing mercenaries. They will go next year with the highest bidder. It is the fans that will pay the highest price, and they already have. But Gaurav, your views, quick.
whoever took the decision to hold this event the very next day after victory without preparations is the person to blame. No one else is to shoulder the blame, not the cricket board. They proposed. Now it's for the government to take a decision. And once you've taken a decision, you should make efforts to ensure that it's followed through. There was so much kabhi ha, kabhi na from all the information that's coming in. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And that's the tragedy. That's the crisis in command. Everyone wants a selfie with the cricketers. Everyone and their aunts and their nieces and nephews, they want a picture with the celebrities. None of them want to work. The police are going with the VIPs. Of course they are. But the police don't have clear instructions. Will there be a parade? Will there not be a parade? Who's to give that instruction? Who's to shoulder responsibility? Everyone wants the trophy and a picture with the trophy. No one wants responsibility, and that's the tragedy in Bengaluru.
Sahil, I want to bring you in because Sahil, you're no stranger to victory parades. Mumbai hosted one, a short while ago, and they did it quite successfully.
Well, we had seen a massive parade in 2007 when for the first time the T20 World Cup was won by the Indian team, and it was a massive parade right from the Mumbai airport to the Wankhede Stadium at Nariman Point. The point being here is that who loves the crowds? Basically the politicians, the ruling class loves the crowds, and that's why such kind of big events are organized. What we are hearing at this point of time, I did a show at 5 o'clock on Aaj Tak, and former police commissioner of Bengaluru, Bhaskar Rao, was part of the panel, and he made a very important point. He said that the police tried to convince the government that let's try and do this on Sunday, because Sunday being a holiday, we will have a better scope of adjusting such a large crowd, because they were expecting large crowds on the streets. This being a working day in a city like Bangalore, we should avoid having these events on a working day. But it looks like that the political leadership also wanted to extract their share of fame when the franchisee team of Royal Challengers Bengaluru, which actually has nothing to do with the state, but they also wanted to be seen with the team which had a victory after 18 years of time, and that's why this happened. It always happens when the politicians push for more crowd at the event. That's what we saw in Kumbh. There were multiple stampedes, and that's what people spoke about. We saw this in Hathras when more than 100 people died.
Yes.
Most of the places wherever the politicians are involved and they want to be associated with the crowd, such kind of stampede happens. And finally, I think the buck stops at the people who took the decision of having this event immediately the next day.
No, Akshata, I want to bring you in, but just, I want to give my 2 pence in right here. I feel that life is too cheap and state governments need to step up and take the blame, because what happened in Bengaluru, in Karnataka, is not the first incident. Last month, there were 6 lives which were lost in Goa. Nothing happened. Did the chief minister come out other than say that, we are so sorry for the loss? Absolutely nothing. The same thing happened in Uttar Pradesh, Kumbh. Suraj Pal, that Hathras stampede, 130 people died. Bhole Baba doesn't even have his name on the FIR. And that's all because of political reasons. So if Siddaramaiah needed to resign, then yes, the chief minister of Goa needed to resign. The chief minister of UP needed to step down on multiple accounts. So the buck stops with the state government, and they need to take more responsibility then, or the accountability that is being attached to them.
No, I agree with you that the buck stops with the state government. I'm not going to go into name calling, because that's the job of the political parties to say CM should resign and all of that. That's something with an inquiry we'll know who to really point the finger at. But I think very clearly the government was wrong in first going ahead and acting like a fan club of the RCB, in the sense that at a time when you had a stampede breaking out, 1 hour later to go ahead with a felicitation ceremony and then back it up in defending it, saying, look, we ensured it's a curtailed ceremony. Absolutely terrible messaging. And that's where that message comes across, Preeti, that life is cheap here in India, that we don't care, politicians don't care. And then you have another such event taking place at the Chinnaswamy Stadium right after, meters away from where the stampede had occurred, where 11 lives were lost. It reeks of insensitivity, and that for me comes from a place of arrogance, where the government believed that they will not be held accountable and so would get away with holding this kind of a bash, a celebration right after a stampede.
Because successive governments before them have gotten away. Literally gotten away. The stampede in Delhi, the stampede in UP, the stampede in Goa. Rajdeep, before I go back to you, I want to bring in both Soyesha and Anjali. Soyesha, you want to come in first, and then Anjali, you go.
I just want to make 2-3 standalone points. Firstly, ever since this tragedy occurred, the Karnataka government is trying everything possible to shift the blame. If you're saying that it was the RCB that was responsible and they held the event and they should have decided otherwise, DKS also went to the airport to receive the players. So you were there. You can't constantly keep shifting the blame. That is one. Secondly, as far as the Congress is concerned, these were the similar statements that they were making when Mahakumbh had happened. Exactly the same words, mismanagement, there should have been this, that. So exactly what they're saying. In fact, Pramod Tiwari went all out after the UP government at that time. And even today, he said that, as a compensation, you're giving only 10 lakh rupees. Why 10 lakh rupees? You made so much money in this event of the RCB. You should be giving at least 2 crore rupees to each victim. And lastly, I just want to say, because I was in the studio at the time that the situation was really turning around, and that celebration, while we were out there celebrating, the news came in, the 3 people have lost their lives. That is the point that where it started. And even before that, like all of us who were there in the studio, we were constantly putting out this message, people, please be careful, you're putting your lives at risk. Point is that the cops were clearly outnumbered.
Right.
My heart goes out to that constable who was trying to control such a huge crowd, that woman with the lathi who was trying to push the crowds away. Right. And in fact, those who were on the ground, Naga and even Sagairaj said that had they not done that, the situation would have been worse.
Right.
So for the ones deployed, it was a tough situation for them.
Anjali. For the ones deployed, it was a tough situation, but not for their bosses. So firstly, the Chief Minister and the government has to accept the responsibility. Secondly, it's your job to anticipate. Crowd was more than we expected. What? You didn't see how many people were taking the metro. You didn't get information over wirelesses that there are so many people rushing towards Chinnaswamy Stadium. We sitting in the studio could anticipate it.
Or the sheer fact that the party ended at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
That there were people out on the roads of Bengaluru till 6
If
a.m.
news anchor sitting in Delhi could anticipate and we were worried a little bit, how could the government and the police not be worried? I'm sorry, you may have been tired, but you have to anticipate this. You have to worry about the people. You have to protect your citizens.
And the cops will always be outnumbered. As I said, there's a lack of intelligence there. The metro station, there was not a single cop there that I saw.
They had to close it down.
Yeah. And the tragedy of this country is that we actually have to resort to lathi charge, and we actually say that that's the right step.
That makes things worse.
Can I just tell you that lathi charge in any part of the world is for rioters. They weren't rioters, they were fans. The fact that you have to resort to lathi charge and we say it's okay because how else do you control the crowd? Because there is no process in place, there are no protocols in place to manage a situation like this.
Everyone knew. Protocol was also, Nikhil, because there was so much.
This guy is blabbering anything. Rajdeep was who got him the first place.
Process in place, there are no protocols in place to manage a situation like this. Everyone knew.
Protocol was also, Nikhil, because there was so much confusion. There was no details given to fans. How do you enter the Chinnaswamy
The fact
Stadium?
is, Rajdeep, they want to bring you in for any event where there are too many people in this country, be it a concert, be it a cricketing match, you're on your own. If you survive it, it's great.
No, let's not damn the cops. We've got some, it's very easy to say that lower level constabulary, the way,
I agree
the entire narrative is as if the lower level constabulary should have anticipated the crowd. All of that's not. No, even the crime. Let me tell you this. Let's do some plain speaking. The fact is, many of these. Nikhil may not agree. Many of the cricketers come from different parts of the world.
Allow to finish. One second, nobody can
Why do you think this was not done on the Sunday and done on the Wednesday? I asked you a simple question. Answer the question. Not the government. RCB's players.
But who's RCB?
One minute. So therefore we come to the point.
It is
Super Rajdeep, super. Waman.
Nobody can
Why do you think this was not done on the Sunday and done on the Wednesday? I asked you a simple question. Answer the question. Not the government. RCB's players.
But who's RCB?
One minute. So therefore we come to the point. Therefore we come to the point that unfortunately
guys, allow everyone to finish.
The IPL is at the end of the day a private event. RCB is a private team.
Yes.
Karnataka state government wants to identify with the private event which has succeeded. The brand they want to identify with the franchise. KSCA, which is where the Chinnaswamy Stadium is, also wants to identify with RCB. My problem is, if it was an India team, I could understand that you wanted to do this celebration on such a grand scale. This is a private franchise. It damn well is the responsibility of the state government, of the private franchise, and of KSCA to get that act together. One minute.
That's deflection.
It
It's
cannot
the
be.
responsibility of the government alone,
We have reached
not
the stage.
the cricket
We have
agency
reached the
authority.
stage. We have reached the stage. If the private franchise and the government had any sense, they would have worked it out together and done it on a Sunday. But such is the everybody wants
as a private franchise. There are 300,000 fans that treat that team as their own. You may think of it as a private franchise. You may go cheer for an Indian team.
யாரா நீ சென்சிபிள் பேசுறேன்னு நீ யாரா நீ மொல
that treat that team as their own. You may think of it as a private franchise. You may go cheer for an Indian team, but there are other fans who want to cheer
I'm
for
asking you a simple
It's
question.
their
Why
right
was
to
it not?
celebrate.
Sir, you're not answering my question. Why was it not held on a Sunday?
I
want to
One second.
Can RCB hold a function without permissions?
My fear
Can RCB hold a function?
is that the point that somebody made, we have converted RCB also into an extension, as you said, of this larger fandom. Once you do that, Everybody there lost their head.
No,
the government lost their head.
One second. Gaurav, make your point.
Private franchise
It's
cannot
a
get
private franchise. It does not decide. A decision is
Preeti,
taken
even
by
I
the
want to make
government.
one point.
Once the government
Coming to
has
you,
taken a
Sai,
decision, once the decision has been taken by the government, it's the government that has to fulfill its
Agree with you.
responsibility.
I agree.
Government, you know.
Did we say that during Kumbh? Did we say that during the Kumbh? No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
சூப்பர் பிரீத்தி, சூப்பர் பிரீத்தி. கொய்யால 2 பேர் போதும் மொத்த சேனலையும் முடிச்சுடுறதுக்கு. ஏய், எங்க வந்து என்னடா பேசிட்டு சீனை போட்டுக்கிறீங்க? யார் ஏரியால வந்து யார் சீனை போடுறது? இங்க வந்து இந்த கத்துவாப்ல, ஆபரேஷன் கத்துவாப்ல. இப்ப கோவால கத்த சொல்லு கத்த மாட்டாரு, மணிப்பூரை பத்தி பேச சொல்லு பேச மாட்டாரு. கொய்யால
Once the decision has been taken by the government, it's the government that has to fulfill its responsibility. Government, you know.
Did we say that during Kumbh? Did we say that during the Kumbh? No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
This is what
Come on.
about
No, it's not what about three. It should be what about three. That should be what about three.
No, 1 minute.
முழிக்கிறான் பாரு. கையங்கரமா புடிச்சற முழிக்கிறான் பாரு.
Talk about this as a standalone.
First of all,
The point is, when you talk about this and you don't talk about that, that becomes problematic.
1 minute.
This is
True. Go Preeti, go get him. Go Preeti.
The Kumbh is not a private event. The event where that Baba Bhole was there was a private event, and
Even
that is
then.
where the problem comes. This is also a private event. I'm very clear about it. The state government has to provide the support to them.
But Suraj
two of them should have sat together and realized Sunday is better than Wednesday. But players want to leave.
Okay,
go
Sahil
across
and
the world.
Naga,
That's the
Sahil and
truth.
Nagarjun want to make a
It's the
point.
job of the government.
Okay,
Once the
Sahil
decision has
wanted
been
to come.
taken,
Sahil,
it's the
make your
government's
point.
job.
1 second, allow me to
I
bring in
agree
Sahil and
with you, the government,
Nagarjun.
but-
Rajdeep, allow me to bring in Sahil and
Should they
Nagarjun. Sahil,
resign?
make your
I
point.
ask you, should people
Sahil,
resign?
go ahead, make your point.
Okay, I just want to add one thing. You know, here it is clearly we can see that at 11:56 in the morning, the Bengaluru police says that we are not allowing any kind of a parade because it is not possible. We'll not be able to handle it. Again, at 3:14 in the evening, in the afternoon, the RCB announces that there is going to be a parade at 5 o'clock. How does that happen? How does that happen? As in, if the police has made it very clear that there is not going to be any
Because
parade, despite that the parade happens. Number one.
Okay.
Number two. At 3:30 the Stampede happens, and at 4:30 the team is being felicitated in front of the Bangalore Assembly by the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. And the government had no idea that there is a Stampede which has happened.
I want to go to Nagarjun. Nagarjun, allow me to go to.
Request for the function the next day was given by the players and the franchise themselves.
Okay, I would like to bring in.
என்ன சொன்னாரு?
I want to go to Nagarjun. Nagarjun, allow me to go to.
Request for the function the next day was given by the players and the franchise themselves.
Okay,
Super.
I would like to bring in. I would like to bring in Nagarjun Dwarkanath into this conversation. Naga, you wanted to interject for a while. Nikhil, allow Naga to come in and I'll come to you after that. Nikhil, allow Nagarjun to come in. Nagarjun, go ahead, make your point.
என்னடா அப்பப்ப காமெடி பண்ணிட்டு நடுவுல?
Dwarkanath into this conversation. Naga, you wanted to interject for a while. Nikhil, allow Naga to come in and I'll come to you after that. Nikhil, allow Nagarjun to come in. Nagarjun, go ahead.
யார நீ உன்னையாண்டா சீஃப் மினிஸ்டரா போடணும் உனக்கு ஆசை இருக்குண்ணா? என்ன பாயிண்டோ சொல்ல வர? ஏதாவது ஒன்னாச்சு கிளாரிட்டியோட தெளிவா கரெக்டா பேசிருக்கேடா நீ?
Go ahead, make your point.
Telangana government.
Preeti, it seemed like RCB and the Chinnaswamy Stadium Cricket Association never wanted to. Sahil, 1 minute, Sahil, 1 minute. The RCB franchise and the Cricket Association seem to be taking unanimous decision and putting more pressure on the government. Imagine RCB going out to Twitter and saying on social media and saying that we are not being given permission would look much bad than what happened today. And hence the government also somewhere succumbed to the pressure from the franchisee and the Chinnaswamy Association, Cricket Association, that yes, in fact 7 a.m. is the time when RCB tweeted themselves saying that there's a victory parade without even consulting. In fact, I woke up the traffic commissioner saying that, boss, there's a victory ceremony happening. Do you know this? He said, no, we are not. I slept at 5 a.m. because I was clearing the crowd. He said, who said this? I said, RCB has tweeted. How do you know? That's the kind of communication that RCB has done. And secondly, the CM and DCM, I think we're outnumbering each other in terms of PR.
So, Naga, are
They're
you
doing
saying
more
that
PR, who's going to
the state government succumbed under the pressure of a franchisee? That's what you're saying?
That is even worst. That is even worse.
Seems like
That's
it.
what
And
happened.
no, not just that, but
That's
also
what
the fandom.
happened.
Because
That's what
the
happened.
fandom.
Very poor leadership.
Absolutely.
Very poor
That's
leadership.
the Sakshita. Allow Akshita to come to you.
If that's the case, that's a sign of a weak government, which is why I say that the buck stops with the government. Who can push back against the RCB, Rajdeep? It's only the government. The government should have put their foot down and said nothing.
But Akshita, you should also realize.
Out and out, the politicians wanted to have their moment. They wanted this to happen. They wanted the pictures with the cricketers, and that is why they made it happen. It could not have happened had they not allowed it.
Simple. Even after the incident, the chief minister's tone.
Allow Anjali Sahil. Allow her to come in. Yeah.
He could have been
Naga
a little
coming.
more, apologetic about it. I think only Priyank
They let
Kharge
us
was the
cancel
one
the
who
event.
actually accepted
They let the event
responsibility.
happen.
Okay.
No, I'm saying post the event also you can, have a responsible attitude. And just one more thing. 2 ambulances were there.
True.
Chief Minister's cavalcade has more ambulances.
As bizarre.
2
Rajdeep, very
ambulances.
quickly, because Naga
My
wants to...
limited point is, I want to know, should this lead to resignations? 1956, train tragedy, 150 people died, Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned. Should people, no, 1 minute. At some stage, are we going to reach a stage where, if we are saying, broadly, I believe that both, in my view, the state government buck stops with them, the franchise cannot escape responsibility. I'm very clear. In this instance, they cannot. They push to have the function the very next day.
Yes.
But will anyone resign? Will anyone be a Lal Bahadur Shastri in today's India and take moral responsibility and resign? That's the
Because the others haven't, Rajdeep. No, because the others haven't. Therefore, it will not happen now.
Resigned at a train accident, those days are long
No,
gone.
forget about train accident. Because the last 3 stampedes, nobody's resigned. Siddaramaiah, then why should he? But yes, Siddaramaiah should resign. So should have Yogi Adityanath. So should have the Goa Chief
I don't know
Minister.
why we keep raising past incidents
Because you've got to...
ஏய், அக்ஷிதா உனக்கு இப்பதான் நீ நல்லா பேச நினைச்சிட்டு இருந்தேன். பாஸ்ட் ஈவென்ட்ஸ் அப்பதான் பொறுப்பு வேணும் உங்களுக்கு.
So should have Yogi Adityanath. So should have the Goa Chief
I don't know
Minister.
why we keep raising past incidents
Because you've got to. You have to raise it. You cannot talk about things by isolation.
Absolutely.
I will only say this, Rajdeep. I will only say that I don't think we can expect.
I don't have an answer.
I don't think we can expect any of them to resign, quite simply. But having said that, I think it's political whataboutery. One, to ask the CM to resign, and second, to raise past incidents.
But should FIR
what-
name somebody from the authorities or
Yeah,
not?
one second.
And FIR is
Accused also in
put
this
in,
case.
and the names that are there are RCB. First it's unknown, then it's RCB. What sort of an FIR is this?
And there has been an incident in Hathras where 130 people have died in Suraj Pal's name. The Baba's name, Bhole Baba's name is still not on that
Let's
FIR.
focus on
Who's
that.
responsible for that? But Sahil and Naga wanted
அமைதியாயிடுவீங்க உடனே.
Suraj Pal's name, the Baba's name, Bhole Baba's name is still not on that
Let's
FIR.
focus on
Who's
that.
responsible for that? But Sahil and Naga wanted to come in 10 seconds each. Please go ahead and then I'm going to go into a break.
No, I just wanted to add think that
it is not about the government coming
for
to the
what
pressure
happened in
Sahil
of
first,
Telangana.
then
the
Naga.
franchisee.
Sahil, go quickly.
No, I'm saying if Allu Arjun can be arrested because what happened in Telangana, the Telangana government took action. There were questions raised on Telangana government for taking action against Allu Arjun. I think there has to be a action taken against whoever is responsible in the Bangalore incidents as well. And wherever such kind of incidents happen, the action must be taken. You have to ensure as a government to
But Sahil, that
have
was
a
tantamount to
proper-
governments arresting themselves.
Please
Naga,
define
20
action.
seconds.
No,
Raja.
let everybody define action.
But
Should there be
Sahil,
resignations or not?
Okay, I will take. Okay, Naga, let's begin with you because we don't have time. Naga, you want to go with the question mooted by Rajdeep?
Should there
What
be
is action?
resignations or not?
Yes, there has to be a resignation. Whoever took the call of giving this permission and whoever deployed the police, whoever did the final arrangements of protocol has to resign. Heads have to roll. 11 lives are too much. There still have to be value for some life. It can't just people can't keep passing
Alright,
the buck.
Nikhil.
The
Okay,
CM,
okay, fine.
DCM,
We don't have
Home
time,
Minister have
Naga, fine.
serious thinking to be
Nikhil.
done and heads have to roll.
It's not
Naga
for me to
fine.
talk about whether there should be resignations or not. What I saw was a complete mismanagement. And I think it also, we've given past examples of various incidents. I thought we were one rumor away from an incident like this in past open bus parades as well. The number of people that turn up, the number of people that reach stadium. I think overall we need to get our systems right. And that is something that, it's not just for this particular parade, but overall, as I've seen in the past
Right.
as well.
Akshita.
I don't think there will be any resignations, but ideally speaking, there should be. I think that it should be largely the Karnataka Home Minister for failing to ensure proper management of the situation.
Got it.
So I'm against this past instances of whataboutery because it's almost like Amitabh Bachchan in Diwar saying जाओ पहले उसका signature करा के लाओ जिसने मेरी माँ से कराया जाओ पहले उसका signature लेकर आओ जाओ पहले
अरे वो signature नहीं हुआ था इसके लिए
Okay, one second. We don't have the time.
You
Go
have
ahead.
you have one instance right now. Take action here. Whoever gave permission is the
And next time when a BJP state fails, you miss that incident. You go past. You see beyond that incident. Okay? Super journalism. Wow, beta. Wow. क्या journalism दी. Wow.
person who's responsible.
Okay. Why I think you need to bring up the
One instance right now. Take action here. Whoever gave permission is the person who's responsible.
Okay. Why I think you need to bring up the past is the present resides on the inadequacies of the past. The reason why the Siddaramaiah government thinks they can get away with it, because every successive government in the last 1 year of stampedes, and there have been, you know how many? 18 stampedes. Every government has gotten away with it. That is the reason why you bring up the past, because today
Preeti alone is setting the standard of journalism in this channel, guys. நான் உங்கள்கிட்ட சொல்லிக்கிட்டே இருப்பேன்ல, நியூஸ் ரியாக்ட் பண்ணணும், ரொம்ப அவசியம். இப்போ உங்களுக்கு புரியுதோட அவசியம் புரியுதா? பிரீத்தி சௌதிங்கிற ஒரே ஒருத்தவங்க மட்டுமே she is setting the standard of journalism in this country from this channel. யோசிச்சு பாருங்க. அப்போ நம்ம இந்தியன் மீடியாவோட ஜேர்னலிசம் எந்த அளவுக்கு சப்பாராக இருக்கணும்னு. She is setting a brighter standard, good standard. Otherwise we would have been fall very, very bad where we could be trolled. ஆப்போசிட் போய் என்னாச்சுன்னு பார்த்தீங்களா, பாகிஸ்தான் ட்ரோல்டு அவர் மீடியா சேனல்ஸ். Sad state, sad affairs.
Resides with it because every successive government in the
saying जाओ पहले उसका सिग्नेचर करा के लाओ जिसने मेरी मां से कराया, जाओ पहले उसका सिग्नेचर लेकर आओ, जाओ पहले
वो सिग्नेचर नहीं हुआ था इसके लिए.
Okay, one second, we don't have the time.
You have one instance right now. Take action here. Whoever gave permission is the person who's responsible.
Okay. Why I think you need to bring up the past is the present resides on the inadequacies of the past. The reason why the Siddaramaiah government thinks they can get away with it because every successive government in the last 1 year of Stampede, and there have been, you know how many? 18 Stampedes. Every government has gotten away with it. That is the reason why you bring up the past, because today resides on the inadequacies of the past. I want to bring...
Go ahead. I quickly just want to say that the Karnataka government can't get away in the name of RCB. So even if there are resignations, it can't just be that RCB was at fault and so we are all clean. There have to be resignations within the Karnataka government. I'm not saying CM and Deputy CM, but I agree with you. That should have been a precedent always if they are expected to put down the resignation.
The government has to take responsibility. They cannot talk like the way they are talking right now. Secondly, RCB, if you're making money off it, some sort of an accountability has to be there. They are making money, they have to pay for their mistakes.
All right, Sahil didn't come inside. 10 seconds quickly.
Of course, the government will have to take the responsibility, and the person who took the call, despite police telling them repeatedly that do not have this event on the working day, should be resigning from the government because of this incident.
All right, we're going to end it there because I think at least one thing that we all agree on the democratic newsroom is that action needs to be taken. We might have different forms of whatever that action might mean, but accountability needs to be fixed. And as a channel, we're going to keep a keen eye on if accountability was fixed in this case.
Vara level. I never thought in my life that a day would come where I would say Rajdeep is right. Ada pavingla. Rajdeep உங்களுக்கு என்னடா பண்ணாரு? ஆடா பாவீங்களா. Cab Chaudhary spent all her time doing whereabouts. She forgot to mention 1 hour after none of the past times people celebrated joyfully. How many ambulances were there? Why was the stadium dispensary closed? Why was it politicized? This is so whataboutery. The anchor is so biased and tried to completely railed off the important issue. Abdinapa important issue. Preeti, how much money you receive from Congress? Such clownery and never journalism is laughable. வந்துட்டானுங்க நாட்டோட பிரஜைகள் 1/2 மணி நேரம் கொடுங்க, 2 நாள் கொடுங்க, தேசியத்தோட பாட்டிலில் போய் பாதுகாப்புன்னு சொல்லிட்டு லாலிப்போ சாப்பிட்டு இருந்த ஆர்எஸ்எஸ்காரன் தானே நீங்களா? ஐயால ஒன்றுமே பண்ணாமல் உக்காந்துட்டு எவ்வளோ காசு வாங்கின காங்கிரஸ்லேருந்து? ரிசீவிங் மணி. ஆப்ரேஷன் சிந்தூர் எத்தனை நாள் நடந்துச்சு காய்ஸ்? ஆப்ரேஷன் சிந்தூர் எந்த அஃபிஷியல்ஸு எந்த கேங் போய் அஃபிஷியலாக போய் இந்தியன் ஆர்மிக்கு நாங்கள் சப்போர்ட்டிவாக இருப்போம் யாராச்சும் போய் கொடுத்தாங்களா? ஏதாவது பண்ண முடிஞ்சுதா? 2 நாட்கள் கொடுங்கள், பார்டரில் போர் செய்யும் அளவுக்கு முக்கியமான சுவிச்சஸை உருவாக்கும்னு சொன்னாங்க. உக்காந்து இங்கே டிவிலையும் மற்ற இடத்துலையும் பேச தான் இவங்களுக்குலாம் லாக்கி. Talk about the present, and you can't always bring past events to justify the present. Super. I'm sorry, but that's not enough. Who is going to be held responsible and accountable? Why aren't the CM and DCM stepping up and accepting the responsibility, acknowledging that it was their mistake? Actually, DCM accepted, yeah. Stampede was a tragedy and they should have not allowed to arrange the event in that matter in the first place. When will we ask the politicians and celebrities why they never issue any message to sensitize people not to work on such events? Because they want these crowds. When does the media raise the question? Preeti Joshi is comparing a world event like world event amla epade world event where crores of people not only from a whole country but from world were assembled there, and for 2 months can this be compared to RCB Stampede? This is what happens to journalists with a bias with one party or hate for particular party reach to such a level that they become laughing stock. வேர்ல்டு ஈவெண்ட் க்ரோஸ் அண்ட் க்ரோஸ் வருவாங்கன்னு தெரிஞ்சு அசம்பிள் பண்ணி சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்காக அதை நல்லபடியாக நடத்தணும். நீ ஈவெண்ட் ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ண யூபி சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர், ஹோம் மினிஸ்டர், போலீஸ் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் எல்லாரும் அங்கே ஸ்டாம்பிட்ல செத்தா அது வேர்ல்டு ஈவெண்ட்டுங்க, அதுக்கு நாங்கள் பண்ண முடியும்னு சொல்லுவீங்க. அதே ஒரு ஸ்டேட் கவர்மெண்ட்டு இங்கே ஒரு ஆர்சிபி ஒரு கப் அடிச்சோன்னா அடுத்த நாளில் வந்து ஸ்டாம்பிட் நடந்தால் ஏன் நீங்களே ரிசீவ் பண்ணுன்னு கேட்பீங்க. அப்பாடே சூப்பரா நல்ல அருமையான ஒரு விஷயத்த சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க, ரொம்ப நன்றி. Preeti does a fantastic job with water buttery. Is very also doing water buttery during Kum. Bro made a valid point. I could not agree more. நான் அவங்க கூம்ப போய் என்ன பேசுகிறாங்க நான் பார்க்கணும். Why no action against the franchise? Are they only to make money and no responsibility from them from alleged betting? CSK franchise banned for 2 years. Till date, we don't know whether any criminal action was taken against anyone. Why the corporation bullshits always go scot-free? Nobody in the whole planet talks about the past incidents other than Preeti. 2 crore commercials should be banned. Victims were 70s or 20s youngsters. Akshita nailed the whole debate at 2410. Why are we talking about past instances? It is a politician who does this. She quietly gave it a big slap to Preeti Chaudhary, who day by day is getting more worse than Rajdeep. She's pathetic. When our RCB was waiting for 18 long years, why can't they postpone the celebration for a few more days? Due to unplanned, we lost our RCB 11 precious life. It's very sad and heartfelt condolences to their family members. Nada this smiley Lustrama. Rajdeep is correct. Nikhil wants to keep his job and is supporting this RCB NPL. Why was the parade organized for the fans, right? Now this shitty panel is blaming only the fans. Drunk, rowdy, water journalism. ஏண்டா அவங்க செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணதால நீங்கள் பார்க்கலடா இப்போ நீங்கள் இங்கே கமெண்ட் செக்ஷனே பைத்தியார்த்தமாக தான் இருக்குது. ஸோ தட்ஸ் இட் guys. I know it's a very tragic incident that happened. Stampede that took lives of 11 Kannadigas. My condolences to the victims, their families. ஒரு நியூஸ் எப்படி பேன் அவுட் ஆகுங்கிறத நீங்கள் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. மேலும் இந்த ஹைகோர்ட்டில் இருக்குது. இதுக்கப்புறம் இது என்னவா பேன் அவுட் ஆக போகுது, ஆர்சிபி அஃபிஷியல் எவ்வளோ பேர் இதுக்கப்புறம் மேலும் they found guilty, will more people will be arrested. If found guilty, what BCC is going to do is RCB is going to get banned. Everything will follow up. Let's follow up. So இத்துடன் இந்த ஸ்ட்ரீமை இந்த வீடியோ நான் முடித்துக்கொள்கிறேன். நான் பண்ணுற கண்டென்ட்லாம் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்குன்னா லைக் பண்ணுங்கள். உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது சஜஷன்ஸ் இருக்குது ப்ரோ, பாலிடிக்ஸில் இதை பற்றி நடக்குது ப்ரோ, இந்த வீடியோக்கு ரியாக்ஷன் பண்ணுங்கள், இந்த நியூஸை பற்றி நியூஸ் ரியாக்ட் பண்ணுங்கள், இல்லை இந்த விஷயத்தை பற்றி பேசுங்க. அதுமாதிரி உங்களுக்கு என்ன ஒப்பீனியன் இருந்தாலும் கமெண்ட் செக்ஷன் தெரியப்படுத்துங்க. இந்த வீடியோவில் உங்களுக்கு விமர்சனம் இருந்தாலும் இல்லை உங்களுக்கு எது பிடிச்சிருந்தாலும் அதை கமெண்ட் செக்ஷன் தெரியப்படுத்துங்க. If you want to support me, hit that subscribe button. That's the only you can support any upcoming YouTubers like me. So hit it man, hit the subscribe button. So hit it man, hit the subscribe button. நான் இதோட இந்த வீடியோ முடிச்சுக்கிறேன். இன்னும் நல்ல வீடியோ சந்திக்கிறேன். See you all. Peace out.